Here from Lords of the Fallen is Tomas Gopp, the executive producer on this game. Welcome to the stage.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Lords of the Fallen is trying to shake up a few things in its genre, RPG, it's got action. What are you guys showing specifically here at E3, though?
Here, actually, the most important thing about what we're trying to show and give people at this E3 is actually, this is the first time ever that we're allowing people to play. This is the first hands-on demo. PC, PS4 version as well, so you can try it out on any platform that you want. And we're actually allowing people to play one of the coolest dungeon levels that we have, the Catacombs, alongside with a boss that is finishing that, a challenging one.
The bosses do look challenging. We'll talk about the challenge level of the game, but let's talk about some of the core mechanics. So there's 3 specific classes in Lords of the Fallen, but you also have customization options and the ability to grow your character. So when you start the game, what are your options?
You pretty much choose 2 things at the very beginning. One of them is the class, the character, but that's pretty much determining the magic that you're going to be using, the kind of spells, the spell tree of a character. And the other one is the gear that you're selecting. So you can mix it up. Let's say there are 9 combinations, 3 combinations of spells and 3 combinations of gear, and that creates your sort of kind of mid-class in that terms. And then there are a lot of more pillars, let's say, of character development. There are attributes and there are different kinds of gear, craftable, some of them have perks, a lot of stuff. We're definitely trying to make sure that it's going to be a deep game in terms of gameplay. Not only, of course, but we'll touch on the other ones, I guess, later, but gameplay, we're really trying to make it complex in a good way.
Yes, and one of the things that has been distinctive about this title and its presentations thus far is that it doesn't really hold back in terms of challenge. It seems like it's going to be a challenging game. What was your design goal there? You know, games like the Dark Souls franchise have been very popular as of late. What are you guys thinking in terms of the challenge level, and who are you trying to reach?
Actually, there's a challenge ahead of us, a really important one, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that on one hand, we don't steer clear of any element of challenge in the game. So we are going to be a game that wants you to do your homework, so to say. But on the other hand, we really try to put a lot of work into identifying the punishing, so to say, of course, elements of other games that make a lot of people frustrated. Environmental deaths. You are able to break your attack and start blocking at any time in Lords of the Fallen, and stuff like this. There are a lot of examples. So we're trying to, not exactly to be in the middle, because I think the level of challenge is very similar to Souls series, for example.
Right.
But I really think that we're trying to make sure that we do everything that people don't get frustrated.
Right.
It's when you make a mistake, you think, okay, I know what I've done wrong. It's not the game is cheating on me, whatever.
Right.
I'm kidding, because I love Dark Souls, but it's not what I'm trying to say.
Sure, no, exactly. I mean, there's a difference between kind of unfair challenge and also just training the player to be a good player throughout. So let's talk about some of the combatants that you'll face throughout the game, though. The enemies look pretty wicked, specifically some of the bosses that we've seen. What can you tell us about who we'll encounter in the game?
Well, the most important enemies, the biggest bosses and the most badass bosses are actually the Lords, the Lords from the title. They are the generals and commanders of the Fallen God's army, and we try to make sure that each boss fight, each encounter is a sort of adventure of its own. So each boss has something specific to him, and that is bound to sort of dynamics of how the fight changes. We can call it phases, whatever we want to. And there's also bound to a lot of more or less hidden elements, like, for example, every boss fight will have a special way in which you can defeat it and you get a special reward. And it's always bound in a consistent way with the way that you fight. For example, the boss that we're going to be showing at E3, he's got rage mode that he sort of charges and unlocks once he gets a lot of damage on you, and you can actually get better reward if you try not to trigger that.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, it sounds like there's a lot of depth to the gameplay that you don't really experience right off the surface. When is the game coming out? Does it have a release date as of yet?
We're coming out fall this year, so we're this year's release. That's, of course, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And yeah, we're trying to make sure that we're going to be one of these epic fantasy action RPGs that actually a lot of people are waiting for.